It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Tyler Kieft, alongside, as always, Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, we finally made it to Friday.
Absolutely, Tyler. How you doing? Happy to be here. Another day, another opportunity, man. I'm excited to talk about what's going on in Greater West Bloomfield.
Yeah, a lot of people taking advantage of some big opportunities in our community and making some big accomplishments. We'll talk to Kelly Heyer from West Bloomfield Parks on today's edition of the program as we celebrate International Women's Day and West Bloomfield Parks, some big accomplishments lately, winning some awards among all of our parks systems across the great state of Michigan. Some other people from right here in West Bloomfield being recognized by other nearby community organizations, including Oakland County, and we'll even take a little look back at history. But let's begin today's program with West Bloomfield Parks. Joining us on the program is their executive director, Kelly Heyer, as there's so much going on right next door to us with our West Bloomfield Park system. Kelly, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show. There's a ton going on over at West Bloomfield Parks. Chief among all that has been what's really been the biggest news in our four communities over the past month, and that's the improvements that are ongoing, looking forward at the Recreation Activity Center. We know the Township Board had a brief discussion with you about that on Monday for some ballot language, and that will come back a week from Monday at their March 18th board meeting. But where does that project stand right now? How has that maybe changed or altered, if any, in these past few weeks during all this discussion?
Well, Tyler, we're still on track. So yes, we go back to the Township Board for final ballot language approval on March 18th. And then we are planning to launch our informational campaign in April. So be on the lookout for our dedicated website and all the other print material that will be available. And really, it's just sharing with the community our intentions, what we plan to do with our capital bond project.
And how has that been received so far? From when the news broke, from when you told us back at the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce's installation ceremony, to when it started to be discussed at the township level, to now the news is out in the community. What's the reaction been like for you so far?
I would say it's many of our residents came forward and they're excited to hear more about it. They really like the forward thinking of bringing the senior center over to the Civic Center campus. And they love the concept of a gymnasium with an elevated walking track. Walking is our number one requested thing, whether it's hiking on our trails or walking past outdoors. But indoor walking has been a request from our residents for many, many years. So we're glad we can incorporate it into this project.
Yeah, and the seniors are such a huge part of this because Connect Senior Center, its new location at 14 Mile in Farmington in West Bloomfield. It's fantastic. It's a robust facility. It's a great spot for the services you're currently providing, but it's that stepping stone really to what you're imagining will be the future of senior services in West Bloomfield once you do potentially eventually get into that 33,000 plus square foot recreation activity center.
That's right. And in fact, when we first opened our first location on Orchard Lake Road, I recall we were celebrating that that's our first senior center in West Bloomfield. And we shared with the community at that time that it was a temporary space, but who knew it would take us a few more years given the COVID-19 pandemic delaying our plans. But we are 99% done with our concept plan, Tyler, which will be available soon to the public as well. We have had some additional community stakeholder meetings. Our senior advisory council has been very, very close to this project, giving us feedback and doing research themselves. So we feel like we will be ready for April with our launching of our informational campaign.
And what's that informational campaign going to look like? Because obviously it's going to be some discussions with us here on the Splash Live. We'd love to have you on. And of course, this is going to be something that's going to have a lot of people wanting to know all the information they can know before they go to the polls, presumably in August, should that ballot language be approved on March 18th. But what else will entail that informational campaign?
Yes, we're going to have a dedicated website which will host the ballot language as well as our frequently asked questions and some concept design plans. So that will be a great location for anybody to go to. We'll also have those available in print for those that won't be able to access the web. And then we have some community engagement, community meetings plans. So people can come to the informational meetings. They're both in June or last week in May, excuse me, and in June. One will be virtual, one will be right at Connect. And then we are willing to come to any community group meeting to do a conversation or a presentation, an HOA meeting perhaps. We'll be out at all of our events this summer with information. The information will also be in our summer brochure and as well as available in a flyer form. So all kinds of formats, Tyler. And yes, we would love to come back on the show with more details.
And you mentioned getting ready for the summer. Part of that is getting the West Bloomfield Trail, which really is still, even to this point, with all the new amenities, all the great programs you have in place throughout the West Bloomfield Park system. That trail really is the crown jewel of our 4 communities amongst our parks, and some recent renovations to that too, adding in those hawk crossing systems. We talked to Chris Fry earlier this week on the program about that. How does that improvement add to what was asked of West Bloomfield Parks to improve the trail, and what's necessary particularly for safety of residents, seeing that is a place that so many people across our 4 communities frequent every single day, every season?
It is a walking highway, Tyler. So yes, we partnered with West Bloomfield Township, the City of Orchard Lake, and the Oakland County Road Commission to make the Hawk Light project happen. And there's 2 intersections where the crossings are. And it's a traditional, typical pedestrian crossing so that you would encounter when you were crossing the road. But it's modified for a trail, a non-motorized vehicle crossing. And that allows a pedestrian to hit the light and traffic will come to a stop and they can safely cross. Because as you know, if you've used the trail, there is so many cars and people and bikers crossing that it was oftentimes dangerous when people were trying to navigate their daily walk. So we're really excited to get those. They are activated, but given the weather, we haven't seen the full amount of people, users out on the trail. So that's really exciting to make happen. And as you know, Chris brought to your, might have shared with you that the residents coming forward asking for these crossing started many years ago. So it is thanks to our residents who come forward and let us know and ask for enhancements or requests. Unless we hear from them, we don't know what they're thinking. So it is really great to be able to see a project come to fruition that started with residents calling and requesting that service.
And a great place to go to get in contact with the team at West Bloomfield Parks is as marked on our website right now on civiccentertv.com. Go to wbparks.org. It's at the bottom of your screen as we speak. We're joined by Kelly Heyer, Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, on today's edition of the Splash Live. And all these different amenities, the improvements that you're looking to make at the Recreation Activity Center, the improvements you've made on the West Bloomfield Trail, whether it's the Hawk Crossing system that you've put in a couple of places, or some of the bathroom and refreshment areas you're putting in at the trailhead in West Bloomfield, or anything else that goes into the programming. It's award-winning. It's recognized across the state. You were recently at the M-Parks Conference in Kalamazoo, where your team took home a couple of prestigious awards: the 2024 Innovative Programming Award and Outstanding Marketing Award for your brand new website. Speak to how that shows the proper recognition for how hard your team works and how effective your work is, beyond just the satisfaction, of course, from your customers.
Well, we'll start with some kudos to our staff. So David Anthony, our naturalist, who came up with the Hike with a Hero program, and that was our Innovative Programming Award. And shout out to Abby Burgess and Megan Tahako for the website enhancement. An overhaul, actually. So back to the innovative programming, it really takes our staff getting creative and listening to our feedback and being able to look at trends. And our hikes are very popular. So David was thinking, how else can I make the hikes popular, or service our residents and get them more outdoors, well, bring in our local heroes. So our fire department and police department have partnered with us to come outdoors, and it makes more people come out for our hikes. It's awesome. And then with our website, we really did need to make several enhancements to that, Tyler. And we were able to not only refresh the page, but make it more navigatable for our users, but also make it ADA compliant.
We're joined by Kelly Heyer. She is the Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, joining us on today's edition of the Splash Live. Plenty of more information on West Bloomfield Parks and recreation programs can be found on their website, wbparks.org, and on their Facebook page as well, at WB Parks. And you said it right there as you're talking about partnering with the police department, partnering with our fire department for your Walk with a Hero innovative program that won that M Parks Award for 2024 Innovative Program of the Year. Partnership plays a crucial factor in how your programs are able to A, get the word out, and B, be so effective. And that goes back to earlier on this week at the Township Board meeting. Not only did they talk a little bit about the ballot language for the Recreation Activity Center bond, but also about an issue related to food trucks and how some vendors, licensed vendors in our community, would be incurring some additional fees if they wanted to attend some of our special events. Ultimately, the board, in a unanimous vote, had decided to repeal that part of one of our local ordinances. And before they did that, you had mentioned to them how important of an issue that was for your operation. Now that that's been freed, how's that going to help you in attracting some of these food trucks that themselves have become huge attractions across our communities?
That's right. So, Tyler, we're working with the board to make a couple more tweaks to the ordinance. So, as you heard, that the first reading, they are proposing to eliminate the bonds requirement, which was a $500 fee to our food truck owners, as well as eliminate the requirement that our campus as well as our park endorsed food truck events would not have to we would not have to file that paperwork for that. So we're still tweaking and going through and making sure that it is a good fit, but we've heard back from our food truck owners that some of the requirements that we put in there they were unable to accomplish them. And then they wouldn't be able to vend in West Bloomfield, which would really take away from some of our events and some of the things that people look forward to when they're coming out to concert series, our Food Truck Tuesdays. So it needs to be a balance, and it's our first time doing this. So we're working really close to get that language just right. So stay tuned to March 18th, and we'll see if the second reading passes, and then we can then come back to you and share. And then we'll also get the word out to all of our food truck owners as well.
Yeah, something that both West Bloomfield Parks and food truck owners alike very much in favor of. We had a chance to talk to one of actually the first fully licensed to operate in West Bloomfield food truck, the Great Greek, earlier on this week, who also had very similar sentiments to that. And as you said, we see these food trucks out at so many of our events. You can learn more about West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation events, programs, initiatives, and more on their website on wbparks.org. Kelly, March is Women's History Month. Most recently, our celebration of International Women's Day. And if you look at the West Bloomfield Parks website, if you look at the makeup of the staff that makes all these great programs, all these great initiatives work, so much of the team at West Bloomfield Parks is led by incredible women that are innovative, that are smart, that are technically savvy, and are really focused on our communities. Talk about the impact that women have on West Bloomfield Parks and what makes your team so great.
Well, thanks for asking that great question, and very honored to be on the show on this significant day. And I will say that we hire the best and brightest people, and we just happen to have a lot of women on our staff, and it adds a caring component. It adds a lot of creativity, but really, West Bloomfield, we celebrate diversity, and that just goes to show that anyone that can do the job, that has the skill set, male or female, we put them in the right position. And so we love to showcase everyone's talents, and it just happens to be that we are a lot of women on our team right now.
Yeah, and they do some incredible work. You look at the staff list, and I'm not going to be able to list all of them in particular, but your recreation manager, Ashley Stokes, your HR manager, Ashley Fortin, who's been responsible for a lot of these new hires, and some familiar faces we'll see over the summer and spring season with new programs. Kay McMahon, who's been a superstar over at Connect as your senior services manager. McIntosh also on your team for a number of years, working alongside you and the team. And even in the past with long-standing members of your team, Lauren Reserve, your Parks Naturalist supervisor, and even your former executive director, someone that you learned under also, and Jennifer Tucker, just the way that the team has built over the years with these women in leadership positions that help to really make that entire team, as you said, male, female, whatever the case may be so great at their jobs.
That's right. And we like to hire, again, the most innovative, kind, dedicated, committed, team-oriented people, and we found them. It is a great organization to work for. And so if you are looking to join our team, we have a few more positions posted. We're wrapping up our seasonal hiring right now. So jump on our website this week to get a chance to apply for our last open positions.
Yeah, you're going to want to join their team. They have a ton of fun over at West Bloomfield Parks. It only gets better as those seasons progress toward the warmer months of the year. Kelly Heyer is with us, Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, as we recognize International Women's Day during Women's History Month. You can learn more about West Bloomfield Parks and their entire team at wbparks.org. Kelly, before we let you go, anything else that's coming up with West Bloomfield Parks we should be keeping an eye out for, or any other exciting news you'd like to discuss today?
Well, the top two things that come to mind is we're launching our first pop-up library event next week at Connect. And that, again, goes back to partnerships. We love our library next door. So check that out. It's on Monday at Connect. And then we have, going back to our clever creative programming that's happening out of our nature team, they have a falconry program coming up in a couple weeks in March. So if you're into our big predator birds, you might want to check that out.
Yeah, so much fun stuff, interesting services, interesting learning opportunities for kids, adults, for families, and everybody in between, all on wbparks.org. Kelly, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And if you want to learn more, you want to see even more about the great stuff that they do over at West Bloomfield Parks, I'd encourage you to do as we're doing today, also being on their Facebook page at WB Parks, pictures and videos, and even more insight into everything they do over there. Kevin, look, we think we have fun over there. Now, sometimes I look at what they're doing at West Bloomfield Parks, I get a little bit jealous, and even more so get inspired to bring some of that fun over here to Civic Center TV.
Let me tell you, as I drive past the parks and I see the pools, the slides, the swings and everything, I'm starting to say, man, that must be a very cool job, especially as the spring and the summer approaches. So, yeah, I'm a little jealous that they get to be outside. I'm going to be honest.
Hey, you know what? We get ourselves outside by covering all these kinds of things and other great stories happening all throughout the year. So we'll find our way to have fun in the community. We'll continue to do that, and you'll always be able to find all that fun on CivicCenterTV.com. However, others have their own flavor of fun, and sometimes that involves some things that are quite nefarious acts and crimes, including trying to scam you out of your hard-earned dollars. Kevin, the Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, a West Bloomfield native herself, is advising consumers to, quote, slam the scam, end quote, during National Consumer Protection Week. Thursday was National Slam the Scam Day, enacted 5 years ago by the Social Security Administration. Attorney General Nessel on Slam the Scam Day released a video encouraging Michiganders to be aware of fraudsters that may be targeting you for your banking information. And here's what she had to say.
Hi, I'm Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. I'm partnering with the Michigan Bankers Association in the Banks Never Asked That campaign. We're turning the tables on fraudsters by empowering consumers to spot bogus bank phishing scams. Every day, thousands of people fall for fraudulent emails, texts, and calls from scammers pretending to be a bank in what are commonly referred to as phishing scams. To protect your information and keep you from becoming a victim, remember, banks never ask that. If you receive an email text or phone call asking for confidential information like your account numbers, your social security number, or your passwords, end the call, delete the text, and trash that email because banks never ask that. If you receive a call from someone claiming to be your bank, the safest thing you can do is hang up and call your bank's customer service number found on the back of your debit or credit card, or just call your local bank branch. You may be asked to verify confidential information if you call your bank, but never the other way around. Don't fall for fake. Recognize the red flags. Search for hashtag Banks Never Ask That on social media. Visit banksneveraskthat.com to take the quiz and learn how to protect your hard-earned cash from phishing scams.
Even more important nowadays than ever before, Kevin, with all this technology coming into play, whether it's over the phone and them spoofing, so to speak, phone numbers, or even over emails, making their emails look like it's one of our local retailers, or it's your bank, or even if it's a family member, you click on those links and some serious damage can be done to your personal information. All the more reason to take Attorney General Nestle's advice and be very vigilant about the steps you can take to protect yourself.
Smart nowadays. I mean, it's going beyond just the regular phone calls and emails now. It's even into social media. Facebook saying that your page is blocked, delete, they need money. It's crazy. So I'm glad that we have initiatives from our local government authorities that are put into place to help protect consumers.
Yeah, people take these opportunities to take advantage of people very seriously, and they get creative with it too. Not just, Kevin, at the national level, but even here at the local level. Recently, the West Bloomfield Police Department began warning residents of a local scam where callers impersonate cops over the phone demanding money at threat of arrest. We recently sent our Jake Schaff out there to talk about this on the program and get more details from our local police about what you, the residents, need to know.
Jake Schaff with Civic Center TV here outside the West Bloomfield Police Department, where a team of dedicated officers is committed to keeping their town safe, even if it's against somebody claiming to be one of their own. A recent report of a scam artist impersonating a West Bloomfield officer has been making waves, leaving citizens concerned and questioning who to turn to and who to ask for help. I spoke with Deputy Chief Dale Young for a comment on the situation and to find out just what to do in a situation like this should it happen again.
So the West Bloomfield Police Department last week received less than 7 phone calls regarding people identifying themselves as West Bloomfield police officers and demanding money over the phone. It is thankfully an uncommon occurrence and something that's happened about a year ago, something similar. And at that time, we did the same thing where we put out a message on social media so people were aware of it. Unfortunately, we're not able to completely eradicate this. The people that are doing these scams will sometimes spoof their phone numbers to make it look like it's coming from a number that is familiar to whatever person that they're calling. But what we do try to do is make sure the public is educated and knows that it's okay to be skeptical. In fact, we encourage that. So when we get these notifications from the public, when people make the police reports, we have a number of people review them to see if there's leads that we can track down the suspects. With the internet and their ability to use voice over IP calling, it is somewhat difficult to figure out exactly where they're calling from. However, there are times that we're able to identify them or at least get some leads that we follow up on until we can't anymore.
How can people properly decipher if the phone call they're receiving is legitimate or not?
Well, we always tell the community, number one, that we will never ask them for money over the phone, but that also if you're unsure of who you're speaking to, and if it's a police officer, same thing, is that you can hang up with them and call the non-emergency number for the police department. And that doesn't matter what jurisdiction that they're saying that they're from. So for the community to know, our non-emergency phone number is 248-975-9200, and it's available day or night.
Let's hope that this entire situation serves as a keen reminder for the citizens of West Bloomfield and beyond that it's always important to know exactly who you are speaking to on the phone and that it's always beneficial to ask for help if something doesn't seem right. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Appreciate Jake providing us with that information, Kevin. There's many things that you can do to avoid falling victim to imposter scams, whether it's people being imposters for your bank or for the local sheriff's office, which we've also heard some local scam attempts for, or even our West Bloomfield police. Many steps you can take, many red flags you can look out for.
My apologies. Continue to look out for anything that seems like it's not right. If it seems too good to be true, more than likely it is. Reach out to your local police authorities and anyone else, or your bank, anyone else that you feel like are real authoritative representatives for whatever situation you're going through.
Yeah, and of course, more information can be found on ssa.gov/scam. Again, that's ssa.gov/scam for even more information on how you can avoid falling victim to scams during National Consumer Protection Week and even beyond. Really good advice from all different levels of government about avoiding falling victim to some of these scam opportunities. Here in Oakland County, the county is partnering with Leadership Oakland to support some big ideas from our local kids. And in the program that's called Acorn to Oak, Kevin. This is a really interesting program where kids that have these big ideas can bring their ideas in, can apply for these grants, and make some money in the process. Susan Holliday is joining us on the program here. She is from Leadership Oakland as we discuss this brand new program. Susan, thank you for being with us on the program today. I want to begin by, what are you looking for in ideal applicants for these grants?
This is an amazing program, and we really focus on 4 key areas. One is business and development entrepreneurial. We have all these youth that have great ideas, and they need to be able to take that passion and put it into action. The second focus area is community impact. We find that a lot of these youth, they want to give back to the communities that they live in. So they want to organize a volunteer opportunity or do a project to help a nonprofit in their area. So that's the second focus area. The third one is educational achievement. We have an application that just came in. There's a young student, his robotics team is going on to a championship, and he needs a little support to get there and go with his team. So those are the kind of things we want to acknowledge. And the fourth one is really extracurricular investment. We know we have youth that are passionate about the theater, the arts, music. So we want to be able to take all 4 of these focus areas, get them out to the youth that have these ideas and have these passions, and help them in any way that we can.
And what are some of those ways that a grant like this could help these kids that have these interesting ideas, some of them big, lofty ideas, and turn that into something?
Yeah, we have one individual who actually is starting a store, an online store. So they needed some assistance in creating that website, getting their marketing collateral together so that they can take their product to market. So that's one of the opportunities from an entrepreneurial perspective. We find a lot of youth, they have these ideas, they want to be able to take that passion and create something. So the other one is really that this little youth that wants to go with his team, and we're able to help him do that.
Susan Holliday joins us, the Executive Director of Leadership Oakland, as we talk about Acorn to Oak, a new partnership between Oakland County's municipal government and Leadership Oakland to provide grants for kids throughout our local community. Many grants upwards of $1,000. You can get more information on these grants as well as how your kids can apply at Acorn, 2, oakgrant.com. Acorn, 2, oakgrant.com, as you see on our screen. Susan, in terms of who is eligible in our local area, what is that coverage area at this time?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tyler. It's open to youth ages 8 to 18 living in Oakland County. So anyone living in Oakland County within that age range. One of the nice things about the program is we are going to accept applications all year round. So there's deadlines for reviews, but we're going to be able to accept applications throughout the year.
And that's great news, too, because these ideas aren't stuff that just pops up and goes away or pops up and within a certain boundary of time, especially with kids, because they're so creative, they're so innovative, they have a different way of looking at the world that hasn't quite been modified into this one track that we kind of get onto as we're adults, and that makes this so much more important too.
Absolutely. We're super excited. We just launched February 1st, and we already have about 15 applications in. Our first deadline for reviews is March 15th. And we are super excited to be able to award these first grants the first week of April, right before, right after spring break, I guess you could say.
So take us through the application process. What should parents, and especially these kids 8 to 18 in Oakland County who are eligible for these grants, what should they have prepared? What should they be prepared for as they go through this process?
Yeah, I think the main thing we're looking for is the creativity, the passion. We give them an opportunity to either write an essay or to submit a video clip of that passion, so that we can really see that their heart's in it and that they're ready to take this next step. So that is part of the application is online, and we want to see really where their heart is and where their passion is. So an essay, a video would be awesome to attach to their application.
Susan Holliday joins us, Executive Director of Leadership Oakland, on today's edition of the Splash Live. You can find even more information on the Acorn to Oak Grant Program, either on their website, acorn2oakgrant.com. It's acorn, the number 2, oakgrant.com, or find them similar way on Facebook, facebook.com/acorn, the number 2, oakgrant, for even more information. And Susan, as we mentioned, this is a partnership between Oakland County and Leadership Oakland, which is your nonprofit organization that you're affiliated with. Tell us about that organization and how participating in a program like this with Oakland County fits within the vision that you're looking to support in our local area.
Yes, Leadership Oakland has been around for 35 years. We have 2 programs. One is an adult leadership program. It's a 9-month program for professionals in Oakland County. We have over 1,500 alumni that have graduated from that program. And then we also run a summer leadership workshop. So we have a 3-day workshop. It's free to any high school students in Oakland County. We've been running that. This is our 16th year. We'll be running that in June. So this was a natural extension for us. We already work with schools. We already work with youth. So it was a great partnership with Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter and his leadership team. Their vision of this program is a natural fit for us to extend that into our community and to help these youth actually take that next step, take their vision to reality. So, we've been around, like I said, 35 years, and it's great to partner with Oakland County on this program and with our schools, all of our public and our charter schools in the area.
Again, Acorn, the number 2, oakgrant.com for more information. You can also find more info on this and other grant programs through Oakland County and their local partnerships on oakgov.com. Susan Holliday, the Executive Director of Leadership Oakland, who is partnering with Oakland County on the Acorn to Oak program, joins us today. And ultimately, when all is said and done, when this first round of applications is complete in mid-March and those first grants go out into our community to our kids 8 to 18, and even beyond that, the next rounds going forward, hopefully over a number of years, what do you hope the kids and their families and our communities take away from this program?
I think our youth are our future. One of the things we do within Leadership Oakland is provide mentorship to these youth. So I feel like that is a capability that we can help these youth so that they get on the track they want, whether that be go to college or start a small business, really to find that passion they have and for us to help coach them and mentor them after they've received the grant. So not just receiving the grant and starting their business or helping the community, but really beyond that is our goal.
Susan Holliday with us, Executive Director of Leadership Oakland, which is partnering with Oakland County for the Acorn to Oak Grant Program. Ages 8 to 18, kids 8 to 18 in Oakland County can apply for these mini grants upwards of $1,000. And part of that's financial because it is partially funded by Oakland County and by a nonprofit organization. But why $1,000 as that maximum cap?
I think that's a kind of a great start. If you think of somebody starting a business, we all know things have gone up in price. So it's a great start to get them going and to, to get that vision out there. So that was the reason we chose that. And this is an ongoing program. This is going to go on for multiple years. So we're hoping to really help, hundreds of children and youth in this county.
Susan, before we let you go, anything else we should know about the Acorn to Oak program before hopefully many more kids get those applications in for that first round the next couple of weeks?
I would say just take that first step. We've got the website. We've got, if you have questions, we have an info at acorntoOakgrant.com for questions, submit those. But really just take that next step. We're here to support you. We're here to guide you. We're here to make you successful. So don't be afraid. And and for anyone listening, spread the word. We're trying to get the word out to every organization, every school district, to just spread the word on the program. It's an amazing program.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I remember hearing about this in the 2023 State of the County from Executive Coulter when this was just an idea moving into motion. It's great to see it now be out and about and ready to be distributed to the community and already having so many applications come in before that March 15th deadline for this first round. Susan, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for spreading the word about this great program.
Hey, to have you on to talk about that. It's going to be some great stuff for our kids in our local area who are so creative, and so much of our STEM or STEAM education as we have in the West Bloomfield School District helps to generate a lot of these ideas. Kids working with technology, with computers, with robots, and so on. And Kevin, because of that, they have these ideas that can not only be creative or be fun for kids their age, but could be innovative and help us all across our community or regular everyday people in their homes.
Yeah, so when you're young, man, that's when your imagination runs the wildest, right? So you have some of the craziest ideas, or what is perceived as the craziest ideas. And I like that they're encouraging those crazy ideas. They're encouraging those, any inventions, ideas, period, that they may have, and they're actually incentivizing them to actually put it on paper and make it an actual thing. So I love this. I love that they're encouraging kids, because when you get older, you start hearing no or you can't a lot, and then that kind of demotivates you, I should say. So I love these type of initiatives.
Yeah, and I had a college professor that kind of had that same sort of mindset. He was a big-time creative, and he had not been the greatest student. He had kind of struggled through his student life, and ultimately then led on because of his creativity, his drawing ability, his storytelling ability. Ended up being an infographics editor at Newsweek, and he would always tell us that what you gotta try to do is get that kid in you to come back out and be free to be creative in your life. And that's what these sort of programs allow. It's telling kids, hey, we value the work that you're putting forth, and we value the work that you're able to put into these projects. So we're going to invest in you and invest in your creativity. Kevin, that can have a major impact on people throughout their careers and leads to some great accomplishments for our greater West Bloomfield residents.
No, absolutely. As a kid, you don't necessarily know your limits. You don't get limits told to you until you get older. So it's good as a kid to let those ideas out and be encouraged, because they can lead to great business ideas and great things that can impact the community. And speaking of impacting the community, recently Oakland County recognized local Black West Bloomfield residents and business owners as Black Excellence Award winners. And joining us here today, West Bloomfield resident and business owner, we have Christian J. Williams joining us on the show.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
How you doing, Christian? Thank you so much for joining us here on the Splash Live. We appreciate you taking time. You just recently received this award from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. First of all, congratulations. I want to say congratulations. Now, can you tell us what this recognition means to you and how it reflects your commitment?
It's definitely very humbling, and I'm very honored to receive the award. I started my business in 2018, actually, October 2018. So this year will make 6 years. Had no idea that I would, be getting the the shine that I'm getting today, it really just started as something for me to kind of help my friends, and it just blew up to be something that it started spanning nationwide. So it just feels good that people are appreciative of my work and recognizing me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, they were chosen, the honorees were chosen ultimately for the notable achievements and strides that they've making, the impacts that they made in their community and just outside the community, just the huge impacts. How you believe initiatives like this contribute to raising awareness about the achievements of Black individuals in the greater West Bloomfield area?
I think they're really important because, there was a press release that went out. So, of course, these things go across multiple news outlets, which is, I guess, how you found me. So, I think that that's really important that, we are highlighted. And, of course, Black people are a minority in West Bloomfield, in Farmington Hills, and in a lot of these suburbs. So it's good to see, for people to just see that we're doing big things in our community, where we're changing the lives of others, and, we're here to stay.
Yeah, so we actually did see that you were recognized, and we actually have the video of you actually getting your flowers for all the work that you've done at the recent Oakland County Board of Commissioners meeting, and we're actually going to check that out right now.
Mr. Williams has been revolutionary in the career services field. In October 2018, he launched CJW Consulting Group, an entrepreneurial endeavor and full-scale professional development business that offers consulting for resume development, cover letters, LinkedIn optimization, which I could use, and interview coaching. From right here in Oakland County, his firm has helped people across the country.
Christian J. Williams of CJW Consulting Group and West Bloomfield resident joining us here as he received the Black Excellent Award recognition from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Can you just briefly talk a little bit more about the CJW Consulting Group, what it does, please?
Yes, yes. So actually what I do is I help clients across all industries: healthcare, engineering, supply chain, automotive, whatever you can think of. And I help clients with their resumes, their interview prep, their LinkedIn, their salary negotiations. I've even helped with personal statements to get into graduate school. I've had clients accepted into Northwestern, U of M, UMass. So that's the high level. And I help people of all races, genders, everything. But I do have a large African American footprint because I'm African American. I'm in a Black fraternity, so I have a lot of Black clients. And so it's really been good because I've been able, unfortunately, we're behind due to a lot of, historical reasons, barriers, we're behind. And so it's really good that I can coach people and help them to gain promotions and to secure roles and get pay increases where a lot of times they didn't even think they were eligible for it. They thought, oh, I don't think I qualify for this role. I consult with them within 2.5 hours, and they're like, wow, I really am qualified, but I wasn't selling myself in the right way, or I didn't have the confidence to apply for that manager job, so then people leave me and they're securing new roles. They're getting promoted, have an average salary increase of about $26,000 after, you leave me. So it's really been rewarding to know that I've been able to help people and quantify the impact as well. So, yeah.
No, absolutely. I love to hear that you're doing that also. And if I'm not mistaken, I see that you advocate for minority and women-owned businesses at the Henry Ford Health System Hospital. Can you just talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so I actually just started that role 3 months ago. And I was doing my business for about 5 years, just independently. And more recently, I just kind of felt like it was time for a little bit of a shift and thought, okay, I kind of want to do something a little different, still do that, but do it on the side. And came across this role. And this is the first role I saw where I said, I would be disappointed if I don't get this job. I actually really wanted this job. And a few days later, got a call back, and here I am. And so what I do there is I work in supplier diversity. So it's my job to, essentially, any organization has to procure things to run. And it's my job to ensure that in that supply chain, we're advocating for and sourcing minority businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, et cetera. And it's really important because there's a lot of barriers. We can't just source things to the multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. You have to support your local community. I'm excuse me. I work in Detroit, in the city, and so there's so many local businesses and, Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and even expanding into the greater, metro area. And so we have to give them a seat at the table and make sure that they're able to bid, and that they're aware of the opportunities. And so we go into the community. I was just at an event yesterday, we go into the community where we find different, vendors. And
Right.
so that's where my role comes into play. When a sourcing opportunity comes up, I go into my databases and I use the connections I've made, and I say, oh, okay, yeah, we have a diverse baker. I don't know, we need cookies for an event, or whatever it may be, and so we bid these opportunities out. Now, of course, can't guarantee that they're going to get sourced, but the intent is just that we at least are making sure they're aware that they're bidding. And if they don't submit a bid, well, why aren't they submitting a bid? Was there some type of barrier that stopped them from submitting a bid? And hey, you may not get the first opportunity that that your bid, but at the same time, you learn from that. Okay, where was I uncompetitive at? Is it my labor cost, or is it the capacity? So it helps you prepare for a next opportunity.
I love to hear that, Christian. Christian J. Williams of the CJW Consulting Group and recent recipient of the Black Excellence Award from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, which this is only the third year that they've presented these awards, by the way. So you're in a very unique class also.
Yeah.
And not only did you get that award, you also received multiple awards. You were recognized under Michigan Chronicles 40 Under 40 for your outstanding achievements and contributions. Can you talk about how you plan to leverage your platform with all these awards and recognition to inspire and mentor others?
I really want to do more events. More recently, I actually had an event at Henry Ford College, and that was my largest event today. And in that platform, I was able to speak to about 100 first-generation college students. And they had me come in. It was like an all-day conference, basically, and I did them in groups of 3. And I was able to talk to them about, give them career advice, give them, firsthand knowledge, give them resume tips. They brought their resumes, printed out copies, so I could, pretty much mark them up and say, hey, let's add more of this. Let's talk more about this. Let's move this up, cut this out. Nobody cares about this. Let's dig deeper into that, And so that was really where I almost felt like a professor. I was like in this big lecture hall talking to all these students. And I was like, wow, I never thought I would be here, So I really want to continue to do things like that, more event-based. Right now, I have a lot of one-on-one clients, which is fine. I probably will never just stop that, but I would like to expand and do even more workshops and more events, whether it's virtual, in person, or both. So that's really my next kind of steps for my platform.
Got you. Well, I do love, the fact that you said you do have, you open your services to people of all races. It's just not minorities. It's just not women. It's all races.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, going back to the root of the issue, why do you feel most minority or women are not getting the advantages or getting, on the same level playing field as other people?
Well, there's a lot of systemic, as we know, you and I both are Black men, we know there's a lot of systemic racism. I mean, studies, and sometimes there's a few things, even with my clients, studies show that 70% of women do not negotiate their salaries. So sometimes it's just in that number, if you were to isolate that to Black women, I think that number would be higher. Us as Black people, Hispanics, in general, we don't negotiate. Sometimes we have this inferiority complex that we're just so grateful to be in the room, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. We don't negotiate, and it's like, no.
Right.
It shouldn't be that way. You're there because you deserve to be there. You earned your spot. You got your credentials. You're not, you don't owe people anything because you got this opportunity. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a two-way street. Yes, you're grateful to have the opportunity, and they benefit from having you as well. And then, so simply, we just don't ask for it. And then there's systemic racism. Recently I had a client, and she told me she worked in HR at a major company. She told me that they used to recruit at, PWIs, predominantly white institutions, and then HBCUs. She said when they would recruit at the HBCU, at the PWIs, they'd offer the new grads $75,000. This is back in the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there. And she said when they would go to the HBCU, they would offer them $55,000. And she said, she asked her manager, why are we offering them $20,000 less? Then she said, because they'll take it. And that's the problem, is you're perpetuating systemic racism, you're perpetuating pay inequities, and unfortunately, they took advantage of them because they know that, especially back then, 55, 60K, that was a lot of money coming out of school. A lot of those people were first generation college graduates. They didn't know people who were making 55, 60K. So they graduated like, yeah, I'll take it. And so, it just, that's why I tell people, firstly, don't ever accept the first offer you get, but those are just a few of the reasons why we're behind. We don't negotiate. We're afraid to negotiate. Then there's systemic, racism that perpetuates inequities like that. And this is not something new. It's been going on, I mean, for our lifetimes and long before it. So, I mean, and that's why I come in to advocate for people. When you have these consultations, I'm like, listen, you have to negotiate. You're making how much? You're underpaid. Just because someone offers you 75 and you're making 55 now does not mean that you take that first offer, because you might can get 80 to 85. I mean, so always negotiate. So that's where it comes into play, in which it just fuels me, because when I get to have these clients and they're coming back like, Christian, I got this new job. I'm making 30K more. I got a sign-on bonus. I got stock options. I had better PTO. I had a client that got a new job. He's upgrading his wife's ring. They got a new place. I was like, wait a minute, bro. You owe me some money. He's like, so yeah.
That's great that you are actually like turning people's lives over, turning a new leaf over in people's lives and changing their lives and helping them upgrade their lives and their lifestyles. That's the effect of getting the resources to help you survive and thrive in the workforce, as well as just in the entrepreneurial field also.
Yes.
We already know that you're doing the work, Christian, but how about other people? What can the community, what can West Bloomfield do a little bit more to kind of help Black residents and or encourage Black business owners?
That's a good question. I think it's about resources. You really do have to provide people with adequate resources. And I don't have a brick and mortar location, so I'm not exactly sure what, excuse me, what other, barriers people have faced. But I will say this: I don't see a lot of Black businesses in West Bloomfield. However, we have at the same time, we've come a long way. There was it recently closed, but there was a sneaker store on Orchard Lake and between Maple and 14. There's like the first Black owned salon, also over there, Deportier. So there's, we've got brunch on Northwestern and Orchard Lake. So I do see that they are making some strides. So that's good to see. But I do think that it's just about resources, providing people with adequate resources. And hey, whether even city contracts, West Bloomfield needs, work done, whether it's construction, whether it's renovation, whether it's, event planning, that, you're making sure that people have visibility to those events. And then they can bid for them. I think that's a big thing. I went recently to it was a passport to procurement conference. I think it was put on by the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation or something, one of those. And so they had a representative from the city actually giving business owners the breakdown of how to get a city contract and how to make sure in their system. Make sure you do this. Do not skip filling this out or you're going to be disqualified. So I do think you have to, make sure people are aware of those resources in order for them to, to succeed. So.
Right. I love that. So ultimately, not only make the resources available, but let people know that the resources are available. Great way to land that right there. Christian J. Williams of the CJW Consulting Group, also West Bloomfield resident and recent recipient of the Black Excellent Award from the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Thank you so much again for joining us this morning, Christian.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And it's great to hear that Oakland County is doing things like this to recognize local residents, Black residents in the Oakland County area, because they are underrepresented. So it's great to hear that. Also on top of the initiatives like we were just talking about, Tyler, in regards to helping kids with these fresh ideas and build those into businesses or ideas that help impact the community. I love to hear and see about that, and I advocate for that all day.
Yeah, it's a really important work that Christian's being done. Definitely overdue recognition for the work that he is doing here out of West Bloomfield and throughout Oakland County. So great to see that he was recognized at the recent Board of Commissioners meeting by our local commissioner here in West Bloomfield, Marcia Gershenson, and so great to hear about the work that he's doing in our community, making history and helping people out, because those creative endeavors can lead to great things in the future. But sometimes what you need is that mentorship and that guidance from somebody that's been there and done that. And he's providing that to adults in our community too.
No, you hit it right on the head, Ty, because I mean, representation matters, to see someone in a position that you strive for, but not only that, to get that help, because even if you continue to strive for that goal, you may not know the direction to go or the things to do or the mistakes to avoid. So to get that mentorship from someone also makes a great big deal and difference, man.
We love to recognize people that are doing amazing things to help people in our communities right here on the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. You can always keep up to date with our program on civiccentertv.com, both live and on demand. And follow us also on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15 and YouTube at Civic Center TV for even more information. And Kevin, we continue this year to celebrate 50 years of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society's services to our community. Yeah, big 5-0. And years ago here at Civic Center TV, our team put together a piece with them about look way back into the history of our community and what it looked like to live in West Bloomfield Township back in 1938. Then they went through so many different elements of society back then, including what was living like, what was the community outlook like, how was the layout in 1938. But a lot of what we did in the community back in that day was farming. Here's a little snippet of what we did back in our 1938, what life was like in West Bloomfield Peace in partnership with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society.
Well, it was still rural. Nothing, everything was small. Even the government was small. West Bloomfield was nothing.
It was farms. And you knew who each farm was, who it belonged to, and you were free. We went through the Green's Orchard to get to school, and people could do that. And there was no problem because everybody knew each other.
Had radio, no TV, daily paper.
The only stoplight in West Bloomfield was at Maple and Orchard Lake Road. And we crossed that road. We were taught you stop and watch both ways. But I'm 5 years old. I remember coming home by myself, crossing Orchard Lake Road.
One of my relatives was the man who had the green orchard on Walnut Lake and Orchard Lake. And so I knew about that orchard.
Greens we always think of as the big orchards. My grandfather loved trees, and he had planted several pear trees. We had cherry trees, we had apple trees. Just on our own farm.
I picked on an orchard on Middle Belt. It was the Masons owned it. And they had apples also, but I remember picking sweet cherries.
Because I was a girl, I didn't have to milk cows, but they had to be milked in the morning, they had to be milked at night, and it was just exciting being in the barn when this is all going on. It was sort of our playhouse. We could go up in the upstairs and go up in the lofts and the wheat bins and the oat bins, and it was magic. It was, when I look at what we had, I can't believe it.
One of our many ways we've contributed with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society over the years in their 50 years of preserving our local history. Kevin, so much more history to make, including some big events coming up in their open house this weekend and going forward. We'll continue to partner with the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society going forward to preserve our local history, and we'll make some history here each and every day on the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. For our entire team, Kevin McIntosh, I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Calvin Brown at Master Control. We thank you for tuning in to the Splash Live.